You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Ow! Welcome to Saturday night. I guess this is typically Katie rant night, but I've been having a couple of nights. Let's go for the hat trick. Screw it. Anyway, welcome to Outside the Box. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, here on criticalmassradio.co.uk, coming at you live from an undisclosed location somewhere in the proverbial universe. That's your mind, by the way. Now, I'm not sure how clear it's coming across because I picked up a headset a little while back, and I used it once. I think it was on Mike's show, and it seemed to be working okay. So if anyone's in the Skype room, I just want to maybe get a little sound check and just to make sure that it's coming across nice and clear. Oh, isn't that interesting? Thanks, thanks, Stevie. Mystified. Did you see a picture of the Pope on his knees at the confession box? Pretty telling picture. That's right. Get on your knees, bitch. Your time is up. I'm done with you. I think the whole planet is too. That's the bitch. That's the real bitch. And I'm just about to share a little something I literally just finished. So, and there's Stevie M. Hello, Mr. Mahon. There we go. And Mr. means son of. Isn't that interesting? Yes. There we go. And reposted. Pope Francis drops to his knees, St. Peter's Basilica, to confess. Yes, my friend, confess all your sins, because isn't it coincidental that I just finished writing this little piece that I'm going to share with you all now? And, of course, it will be sent out for the Sunday funnies. And hopefully they'll get up Monday morning when they get to their slave jobs. Because April 1st is coming up, and that's April Fool's Day. And let's just sort the fools from the foals, right? The fallen angels, if you will. We're done. So done. Anyway, let me see. Yeah, I posted it on Facebook, by the way, and I got room for one in my Facebook. Yay! Ryan, I added you, and I sent you a request. Looks like you may have already added, so just let you know. I do have room for one. Anyway, as you are all fully aware, anything that I write, and I have for quite a while, is written in completely neutral Phoenician, where all the words are neutralized. I do that as I go. And I've been doing it for so long, it's a common thing to me now, a with me thing, or think, more accurately. Even when I'm using vowels and the G's and W's and all the rest of it, those are all nullified with the intent of the correct intent placed in there. I typically try to keep things as, quote, normal, unquote, in writing, just so I can convey the ideas that people are used to seeing in common speak. But I assure you, anything that you read that is mine is from a completely Phoenician understanding, going back to the days of the Druid. Yeah, we're going to have some fun tonight. I just feel it. Can you feel it? I can feel it. So let's carry on here. Let me get this thing open. So this is going to be going out to the usual, you all suspects. Yeah, the little things, the dusties that get in your eye and you just kind of wipe them away. I got to tell you, in the number of things that I have, especially to the Guelph, any of these police things and courts and shit like that, the number of things that I have sent, I mean, you'd have to be absolutely mentally fucking retarded or psychopathic to not react to it. And I would have a tendency to lean towards the psychopathy or the soulless aspect of these biological bioborgs is what I'm going to call them. They're not cyborgs. Psi is spirit. There's nothing spiritual within these constructed meat sticks. They're just like any computer. They look like they're alive. Think about Data. You remember Data from Star Trek Next Generation? Well, Data was a soulless, spiritless machine. And I don't see any difference between something that's put together with silicon chips or biological chips, because to me, it's all energy. We are walking around in biological computers, if you will, right? That's the construct. And for those that have seen Terminator, it shows you the tying together of the the skeleton, the endoskeleton, it's metal and has flesh on the outside. Without getting too technical on this, it doesn't take the imagination far to not. You don't even have to stretch the imagination to see the comparative difference and absolute similarity of a biological computer versus a synthetic computer. Much in the same little unit that I'm working through here right now. Again, it's this computer that I'm using will only perform as per the programmings that are in it and those that I choose to put in it to maximize what it is I want this computer to do. And I see, I've met too many of these soulless types in terms of, they call them police officers. I just call them biocomputers programmed to operate at their master's programming at whatever level. Of course, we can get on all the literals of the corruptions of the ancient schools, the Masonic being corrupted, and all the rest of these nonsense things that go on with a feeble attempt to keep humanity from awakening and finding out that you are all creation itself and that you have been vampired on for too long. I would just suggest it's time to stop that. And really, all I have to do to stop it is get the concept, people. That's it. So let me see. Where do I start? Well, first thing, let's see if my coffee's too hot to drink. Yeah, it is. So I'll just carry on here anyway. Now, I did pass this along to Ninja. I'm not sure when she'll get it. It was, again, I just finished it. So, and for those that want to read along, that are on my Facebook, I've also shared it in one of the Skype rooms that I can share it in because the other two rooms are too large for posting files. Yes, system. We have full Skype rooms, and I'm only in a couple, right? And I know these truths go out to countless tens, if not hundreds of millions of people that are awakening. And this is what you're all starting to see for yourselves. The more you awaken, isn't it funny how everything around you starts to awaken too? Well, that's because you're lateral time shifting and you're moving into that timeline where the more awake version of you, that point of view, is there with you, right? And that's what I'm experiencing with all of you. So that's why I don't pull any punches, and I don't care to what extreme I have to go, whatever it takes. That's the unconditional aspect of truth. Whatever it takes to get the truth, and then to get the truth out, to see what resonates. And again, with me, it has to feel right at the same time. And I call those aha moments. And that's when you know you're building your bridge across this nightmare illusion that has been constructed for you. So, my throat, and let's go. So it's titled, well, you'll see it, I'll probably have to, what do you call it? No, I'll leave the title as is, because the header on it is You and Your Psychopathy by Kate of Gaia. But right above that is Dear System Worshipping Whores of Babylon. And that's anyone that works for government, law firms, cops, militaries. I don't care what level of government employee you are. If you have an employee contract with any government agency, any corporation, bank, etc., that's everything. To the degree that you are agreeing with it is the degree that you are in a whore in Babylon. There is no easy way to say this. So why bother? You just say it, and that's the truth. And you get to decide in your own heart, in your own mind, what truth is to you. And the trick with truth is once you discover it, once you uncover it, you have a choice now to stand in it or deny it. And what I've dealt with in the system for far too long are countless beings, whether they have souls or not, that continually deny it. And that's sort of what the premise of this is all about. And I have a couple of sneaky suspicions. I kind of brought it up last night, but it's becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. How many of you out there are going to be the Joseph in the coat of many colors, where you will be the one judging your assailants? Well, it's an easy answer. would you want me to judge you in the same way that you have wrongly judged me? I think not. You know, it's the same way as having a chocolate bar sitting on I've talked about this in creation itself. You have a chocolate bar sitting on the table. This system has been cutting the chocolate bar in half and picking its own half first, which is typically 99.9% of the chocolate bar, where those that actually create the chocolate bar are left with a crumb. You know, so what has happened here is that knife has been taken out of their hand, and I get the cutting. I get to do the pairing, or the pair ink. Interesting. Wonder where I'll cut that chocolate bar. Wonder where you would. Well, you don't have to, actually, because these psychos have already decided their fates and their actions, and their continued willingness to do so. There's no judgment required for anyone outside of themselves. By your actions, you are known. You create your own law within you. So those that make the rules must obey the rules. And that's each and every one of us. We make our own rules, our own laws. That's what mon law is. That's the with me law. That's why everything outside of you in terms of legal or lawful, I don't care if you man-made common law and all the rest of it, it's from a skewed perspective, where the truth is, the only law there is that which is within your universe, which is you. God is light, you're gods. Some cool radical said that once, and a few of the other cool radicals said the same thing. Time to get a little radical on this. So anyway, let's carry here. I find it fascinating watching your system of delusional reality crumble down around you. You're beginning to see how powerless you truly are. Once those, like me, see through you for the ignorant, bought and paid for slaves that you are. In the same way the Roman legions fell, that was exactly the same system you serve today. Your impotence is exposed as well for all to see. Yes, you love to parade yourselves in true peacock fashion, with your fancy robes, your clown suits, your 9mm penis extensions, your titles, offices, and repugnant elevated levels of self-impotence. Every day your masters in the foul intent you serve show their fear in grand fashion, ramping up the same old diatribes, dragging out the same old empty Trojan horror says, to no avail. You can doubt this all you want, but perhaps a little time reading my writings on my website will clear your bought and paid for minds a little, where in truth it is my intent to wake the sleepiest aspects, or as specks, of humanity up. You that serve your dead crown are the sleepiest of all. Is it ironic that in the execution, lovely word, of your duties, owed crucifixions, not only are you killing your own souls, but the souls of the ones you claim to love, such as your children, families, and friends? What's funny as well is that you go about your daily programmed lives, inflicting pain and harm on others, especially those trying to snap you out of your delusions. I would suppose the hardest part for me is knowing that I'm dealing mostly with psychopaths, like you, who think this is a good and normal thing. Just a few questions that might shed some light on your psychopathy. Never an easy thing for those salvageable to accept, but try I will nonetheless. By the way, if you answer yes to any of these questions, you're a certifiable psychopath with serial killer tendencies. Just a little heads up for you, LOL. Do you think that war, where the murder of people, uniformed or not, is a good idea just because some puppet master, banker type, or media talking head is a good thing? Does fleecing the creations of others to enable you to have a paycheck, in that you produce nothing anyway, welfare capitalist, justify the harms your willful ignorance or willful choice allows? In that you already know that any use of a legal name creates slaves of humanity long ago shown and proven, are your continued choices of your profession to aid and abet slavery for your unseen masters okay with you? Does the fact that your jobs as elevated slaves, showing your disdain for all human life, including your families, bother you enough to stop using psychotic justifiers bathed in human suffering to actually look at the proofs surrounding these facts? Does the illusion of power and control over others using violence and threats of such, draped in titles and flags dripping with blood, suffering, keep you up at night? Or are you simply content to justify the psychopathy with phrases like, I'm just doing my job, the same phrase that got many war criminals hanged? Are you content to spin out lies against others like the rumor mongers outlined in Revelations 18 and other tomes, as your standard operating procedure to harm people like me, exposing your corruption and enslavement? Oh, the list of questions could go on endlessly and seamlessly, as I know you are aware, but really, why bother? That's the trouble with psychopathy and egos like yours that are bought and paid for. You can't negotiate with insanity, especially those with an evil, soulless intent to begin with. Just like my interaction with a few of your well-trained dogs a couple of weeks back, I'm sure they were scratching their heads at their stand-down order that saw them run off with minimal effort on my part, because I know what, I know what rules yours and their minds. This is likely the first time they ever chat with someone who uses creation law. You know, the law of creation herself. Best that you catch up with the facts on my website, creativegaia.wordpress.com. It's also funny the pair of fetchers showed up the next day when I was in the same place I was the night before. This is the difference between force and power, where force is the effect, a place you live in, a place you live in, but not me. LOL. I mean, really, how many times do you have to be handed the same truth, deny it, and then even try to claim that you're not a psycho and a parasite on humanity? Unfortunately for you, the masses are awakening to this very quickly. But then once you know how to be cause over this reality, those at effect are, well, at effect, like you. How neat is that? Seriously, how long do you think your supposed jobs are going to last, and that we are beyond the critical mass now that is bringing your psychopathy to an end? Now imagine this for a minute. Imagine that the roles are reversed and I am to be the one to judge you. How exciting is that? Would you wish for me to judge you and your actions in the same way that you have corrupted every truth to attack me to the point where you are now powerless? That's the trouble with your spell-casting masters, the scribes, Pharisees, and corrupters of truth, that you must get joined or consent to a name, dripping in spiritual contract, in the same way that a vampire cannot enter your house until you invite them in, kind of thing. Your whole system is based on the fact of feigned authority, and is solely dependent upon the masses never waking to this. Oh, we're awake, LOL. Yep, you can sit there in your eensy little ivory towers made of glass and deny whatever it is you need to deny, but the facts remain. Ignorance of true law was, is, and never will be a defense for psychos hell-bent on feeding on others just because you think you can. No, your royalty, your popes, your clergy, your presidents and prime ministers, etc., are only held in place by one teensy-weensy thing. People must be made to think they have power to get the spiritual consent and contract. While much of this is going over your ability to comprehend, the good news is myself and others get it, and your illusions and delusions of grandeur are toppling daily now. Tell me, what does it feel like reading this when you know in your hearts, well, if you have a soul, exactly what it is that I am saying is pure truth? The truth is, the time is coming swiftly, where all the harms you have wished upon me and my family will be granted in your spiritual mirrors, as per the golden rule, where I use the golden mean. Look up the Narmer palette to get a handle on the little books all cops carry, and what they are, and why. You'll have to do a little reading, assuming that you can, to actually get a grip on this. What I do know is that most people in uniform and government jobs, etc., are simply duped into thinking what they're doing is right. But then that's the product of, your well-designed schools, churches, and training to keep this insane reality chugging along. End of the line, kids. This train you're riding is going off a cliff in the same way that lemmings do the same thing because everyone else is. Yep. Psychotic, even by your delusion psychiatric definitions. Too funny. Tick-tock, tick-tock is the sound of your control clocks running out of time. The best part is that I still wish you no harm. And why should I, since what goes around comes around in perfect pendulum swings? I merely have to think this into existence now, and this is what your masters were always terrified of. Have a listen to my show that was briefly interrupted by these truths I'm sharing, March 14, 2014. As per your calendar control system, I'll share a link at the bottom of this last reminder. Also, take a look at a 3-year-old plus video Judge Bouse to Sovereign, and then apply the same rules they used on Sesame Street, where one of these things is not like the others that even a 5-year-old mentally retarded child could spot. No, you have grown fat and slothful on the preying on your fellow mankind, either through your willful ignorance or simply because the psycho in you saw easy gain to give you an elevated sense of self-importance, impotence, where I know some of you are fully aware of the rules of the game, like myself. I, countless millions now, are sick of your sickness, your mental illnesses, your psychopathy, and are befuddled at how stupid must one be to continue this, or how insane and mentally ill you truly must be. I have looked in the empty eyes of some of your soul feeders, the empty biological computers, far too many times, and sickened by your complete lack of compassion. No, I'm not going to sit here and try to educate you, because your programs either run too deep or your insanity makes any compassion for yourself and others unfathomable, so I won't even bother to try. That's your job. The choice is simple, and the choice is clear. Either you will be a villain or a hero. No one sits on the wall. Hell, you know what happened to Humpty, right? No, your child-raping pedophile masters in your governments, your churches, synagogues, mosques, palaces, and all manner of titles, be they kings, queens, popes, bishops, presidents, prime ministers, and those you cannot see, want to make sure your deals with the devil stay in full force and effect. You are at the crossroads now. You've already signed your deal with the devil by being oathed to a dead crown corpse. You reinforce this with any and all id entity pay pers, where your only power over others rests in them being as stupid or evil as you. Day after day, you and your minions go out into the world reinforcing this Narmer trap in every country on this globe. You willfully premeditate spiritual murder with the intent to dupe someone dumb enough into being one of the names in your book of the dead. No, this spell is broken, where no one has authority over me, where I will never invite any of you vampires and werewolves into my house, as clearly shown on March 14th and countless times before. The only thing more unyielding than you in my reality is me. But then, you already know this. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. The real irony here is that I am still trying to help you awaken to your evil ways, if that is or was ever even possible. You have gathered quite the collection of karmic retribute ion to date, and that's only what I have witnessed. Never mind the countless others you have screwed over in this one single lifetime. Every wrong you have done and continue to do must be paid for in full. Such is the way of the common with my law. Yep, you create your own laws within, and those that make the laws must obey them. And I'm not talking about the mindless psychobabble in your legal books of the dead. Here's what I get to play here's where I get to play the mirror role of Pontius Pilate, and simply wash my hands of you, and cast you to the mobs you have been preying on, because honestly, I've done enough to waken your feeble minds, and it's up to you to sort yourselves out. Regardless, what you don't fix, the universe will fix for you. Fact. Look, Mom, no hands, no wish of harm, no need to, since your own actions of past, present, and future, in the infinite moment of now, has you judging yourself anyway. In short, sucks to be you. Even as I write these things, these little heads up to psychopathy, I ask myself, why even bother? But then the law of truth, or law of verily, truth, love, unconditionally, is the only thing that motivates me, knowing it's costing you your soul, if you have one, and I'd sure hope you do the same for me. As for the mindless, soulless meatstick bioborgs, nothing there, so nothing lost anyway. I spend every waking moment focused on taking your false idol towers down. Let's say all your attempts to destroy my family and my life only served as motivation. No amount of your created hate, either by you or those scared into believing your shite, will make my infinite and immortal soul buckle. You have tried, at gunpoint, via kidnapping, etc., and you have failed. The good news is, you know this now as I do. Seriously, how does one convey truth to someone who is a willing psychotic like you? You and your ilk have duped innocent souls for far too long, and your time is up. It's written in your stars, silly. No, I harbor no ill will towards you or any of your psychotic kin or masters, because you've already sealed your fate, and your deal with the devil contracts are now due anyway. So I'm just going to sit back and watch you self-destruct now. What will you do when your fate is in the hands of beings like me and others? Whose money will you steal when money no longer controls the masses? Who will feed you, build your homes, or take you in knowing what you have done to them and why? Your media, your media spin dogs are spinning out already. Your master's false flag attempts are exposed before they're even conceived now. Humanity is tired of your insane wars and psychosis of controlled mindsets. You have a pretty ugly mirror to look into, but now you can call it your crystal ball, where your future is secured by the mirror of harmful actions. I honestly hope you're up to the best. Yeah, I keep a very close eye on me, dear psychos, because I want you to see me laugh. I want you to begin your long trek home with my laughter ringing in your ears. I wonder what a fully aware and conscious slug thinks of as a boot comes down to crush it, in the same way that your boots came down on the innocence of countless ages. As I said before, and I will say again, to appease your egotistical angers and fears that I wish you no harm, where you've wished more harm on yourselves than I could ever bear to imagine. Time to set the record straight, my dear lost souls, because the truth is, the record will set you straight anyway. No fuss, no muss. You see, that's what fear tastes like. And since your minds are great at inflicting it, you should have no problem imagining what you have earned by and of your choices and actions. In closing, may the universe be as merciful on you as you have been on others. Mercy me indeed. LOL. One and love. Lauve. Me. Magnetic Electric. And things that make you go, isn't that great? Anyway, so there's a little send out. I mean, listen, right now, all I'm trying to do at all is to bring as much of this gurgling shite within the consciousness into plain sight, into plain view. Listen, we're not going to fix anything until we can actually see it. You know, it's like last night. Give you another example. Last night, I mean, this is my way of neutrally calling out all of the nonsense, because here's the simple truth of it. And I'm always very careful when I share this, because egos love this. It's almost like that Jesus Savior program. Oh, I get off. No, you're not off the hook. You'll get off the hook when you get this from a spiritual level. You see, all the harms done to any of us by anyone that is not of the there's no real way to put it, but let's just call it that evil side of ourself, okay? The ones that are in full knowing of their evil intent, right? Because the vast majority of humanity, and this includes all the guys and girls in uniform and government jobs and, you know, some politicians and what have you, because they're mere puppets, and it's very easy to control a puppet with money if that's what, you know, you lust for. It's easy to control a puppet with power if that's what you lust for. Only a psychopath lusts for power over another. Only a psychopath thinks that they're in need of doing that, somehow forgetting that if they were at any given time a creator, a source creator, what the hell would you need to force anyone or anything into any situation? So the bottom line for me is quite simple, and I look back over my friends and family and everything else. For me, it's about putting it out there, and that's all. It's delivered from neutral. And again, I try to throw the right kind of sound into it to convey an intent, knowing full well that everyone, myself included, has that ego personality program running, and not everyone has it completely neutralized. So I use the same thing to deprogram the ego that was used to program it, emotions. Right? So if I can, and this is something that will probably help you if you're trying to find your own ego. If you have an emotional reaction to anything at all, you know, where you end up name calling, I don't care what it is, getting angry and kicking and screaming outside of yourself, calling everyone around you, regardless of race, color, creed, or whatever, something rude, that's ego. That's pure program. That's personality. That's the corrupted DNA. And this is the DNA that we're bridging out of, right? And some aren't quite up the ladder quite as high, and that's okay. I mean, the mind's made it clear, the 9 levels of consciousness. Some are still down and around the single-cell mentality organism sort of thing. That would be your bioborgs. If at any given time they're ever going to get the privilege of having spirit. You see, because here's the thing, and there's a lot more of that type of meat stick on this planet than you would care to imagine. I would pretty much put it at a 50-50. When your computer no longer works, let's just say the hard drive's corrupted, it's infected with Trojan viruses and all manner of garbage and all shit, and it just no longer functions for you. What do you do with that computer? You throw it out. You destroy it. And do you think twice about throwing a computer in the garbage, like it has feelings or something, like you're actually harming something living? Because with the bioborgs, new coined phrase, bioborg, that's a soulless or spiritless biocomputer in the guise of a human form. How much guilt do you feel when you toss out a broken hard drive? When you destroy it, I've done it quite a few times. I've had computers do the meltdown, and I have not an issue in the world throwing it out. And that's exactly what these bioborgs are. They're just broken hard drives. You're not. Let's just say you're not quote killing anything unquote that isn't already dead anyway. They're flesh meat stick forms of data. That's all they are. Nothing like taking all the guilt out of it, because there isn't any. But here's the thing, though. All those that actually have spirit and soul that have harmed, myself and anyone at all, they've been corrupted. That DNA is the program that's been corrupted. And the more that you are in being controlled by the emotions and the ego, the more available that program has to corrupt your spirit. You're just in a state of amnesia. You're, the ringing cedars of anesthesia, right? It's time to wake up. And these things are nothing more than passing thoughts to me now. Like the emotionals to say, well, that's really heartless, Kate. No, it's actually heartful. You see, because if there's a Terminator unit, soulless, bent on destroying, actual living spiritual beings in body form, I'm going to treat it the same way that John Connor, treated them. I'm just going to obliterate them, because they're nothing more than machines. That's your Atlanteans, by the way. And it's my suspicion that that's exactly what they created. They created enough of a DNA program to build a human-type body without a soul. This game goes very deep and very dark very quickly. And I've talked about this on, too many shows to count in the past. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this for about 6 years now or more. So these things that I say don't come lightly. They don't come without intense. This is all I do all day. Have for the last 4 years solid. And all that time under the pressure of a system that Rome, London, Washington, D.C., and of course the local yokels, the meat sticks in Guelph, Ontario, which includes the very robust, very obese mayor, Karen Fatbridge. I love doing that. Just get their goats, right? I'm looking for goats tonight. I'm collecting goats for my for my little field in my universe, right? Anyway, and never mind the psycho Rob Davis, former chief that got ass fired 2 weeks into my solitary because he went too far. Never mind the psycho Brian Larkin, chief that's there right now, and I've heard him a few times on the radio. How many times are you going to milk a cop driving head-on into a bus like an idiot, Brian, to get sympathy from your blind and ignorant minions that you walk around with all your little minions and your little Narmer books, your little pallets of soul enslaving? You know how the game works, Brian. You're not the chief without knowing this. I know that. You're Masonic. I know that. Don't forget, my family was in it. I got inside track, you dope. I've known what's been going on for a long time. I made it quite clear, and you fucking morons still don't get it. Because you don't want to, you see? It means you're going to have to take responsibility for the criminal, evil intent that you've been formulating and propagating against humanity for so long. I mean, for Christ's sake, Brian, you hung out at your place as a kid. Yeah, my mom and dad hung out with your mom and dad. Isn't it funny how it comes full circle? Hero or villain, asshole? This is me calling you out, and this is me calling out every fucking cop that is so stupid as to not even look into things because their programs are running too deep. I do happen to agree with the fact that free men on the land and those claiming to be sovereign citizens using anything legal need to be jailed, along with you. Because all they're doing is propagating conflict and hate. And they're blind. They're divided and conquered, just like you. Every time you get up and put on that uniform and sling a 9mm penis extension on your hip, just shows me how powerless you are. Like I said, when one of your thugs kidnapped me in front of my home on February 11th, 2012, at gunpoint, the only thing I was concerned about, this is how scared I was just grateful I'd just done my nails. Show me your hands. Well, there you go. Aren't they pretty? You're a bunch of monkeys. And I know you bought the house behind me. Oh, yeah, you were keeping a real close eye on me. And you still do. I know. Guys, here's the joke with you. I can feel you. Even the soulless ones. It's a lot easier to feel the blindly ignorant, egotistical ones because all they're doing is oozing hate, control, ego. Yeah, nice unmarked car, by the way. The gold one. Don't worry, guys. I saw your faces. And I saw your complete amazement at what the hell's going on here? Why can't we grab her? Well, I see you're still playing the physical game, dipshits. I don't play there. I control it. The good news is I'm neutral. I'm the observer now. Why couldn't you even grab your supposed plates off the back of my car? Well, you need a jurisdiction. That's how powerless you are. These are not your plates, dipshits. Likely made by someone that you wrongly convicted anyway. And who the fuck are you to judge? Oh, but you're walking around keeping society safe. No, dipshit. The mere fact that things have become a police state is just more proof to me of how terrified your masters are. Because where they used to do it covertly, because people were that ignorant, we're not so ignorant anymore. So you got to kind of ramp it up a little bit to keep that fear going. But here's the joke. The more fear you put out there, the more motivated others are to go, what the fuck is going on? Including the ones that are actually doing it. Remember, I talked about this the other night. Typically, and this applies to police as well as military, the four types of people that get into these uniform professions are quite simply this. You've got the ones that follow in the footsteps of their previously indoctrinated murder-minded family. If they're military, they love war, or police, whatever, they love guns. All right, so there's the family connection. Keep it in the family, right? The other one is someone that just doesn't have the ability to find work. So they'll jump into the military, and of course this is the prime candidate for police academy because they don't want anybody with any more than a grade 12 education and nothing higher than 100 IQ, which is basically just above imbecilic moron, way below average, right? And you want the bullies and the bullied too, right? Because you want those that just love it. Now I'll get to that one in a minute. Okay, and then you have those that actually, and there are quite a few of these. I can imagine. I've met a few. One of them was a supervisor named Steve, and he was actually quite interested. And I had an interesting chat with him because he had spent, I think, 12 years in the child crimes unit in Toronto, and I actually acknowledged him for his service to the children, having been one of the, I only had to endure it for 9 months. I even talked to Brian Bell in Belfast, who had been looking at this kind of crime for 28 years. And I bowed my head to them, saying, "Thank you so much. I only had to endure it for 9 months. I could never imagine having to confront that for, 12, never mind 28 years. That's just crazy. So anyway, we got the ones that follow in the family footsteps. We got the ones that, are out of work and they just need a job. Typically, they're the ones that are the unskilled. And that's what the military loves to do, go around and round up these youngsters, cops as well. And then you have the others that are looking at it from the honorable position of they think they're actually serving their society. In much the same way that the former Deputy Chief Brent Eden for the City of Guelph Police, who actually went into serious and I would say suicidal depression once Rob Davis, the former chief, told him what was really going on. And he only did the 3 years. He still sold out because here's a guy that, if you got honor, you would stand up and expose this. But then, pussies run away from any sort of fear anyway. They probably threatened his physical meat stick. That's a problem when you think you're a physical meat stick. You definitely you'll crumble at every turn, right? And then of course the last, and this is the critical one. This is the one that the bullies and the bullied fall into. The fourth part, and that is a large portion of these, far too big now. And you've seen all this. That's why you're seeing all these psycho cop stories, because this is the breed that I'm going to introduce here as the fourth type that joins the military or police. These are the ones that want a legal means to murder. That's it. That's all it is. They want the legal means to beat the fuck out of anybody they can. You don't have ID? How many people have been killed in the last, 3-4 months because they didn't show ID? I mean, I've got one friend down in the States has been 4, maybe 5 months now in they're holding him in a psychiatric hospital because he just refused to show ID because he knew who he was. And recently, I think a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a friend of Kai's today, a couple of days ago. They even grabbed his mom. Yeah, these are the kind of psychos you're fucking dealing with there. All right. So, by the way, that when that does go up on the creativeguide.wordpress.com site, I would urge you just to get it out. You want to start changing this planet on a grand scale. You send that out to every. I don't care if it's a library, a church, fucking law firm, cops, whatever. You send it out everywhere. You want to make a difference? Well, there's your tool. It's got my moniker on it. Okay. So just read it. If it resonates with you, by all means. But I want these mofos to see who's doing the writing. They already know who's doing it. I laugh at people like Jim Macris and all these other fucking stooges that claim to be high up, like in the Ministry of Attorney General, whatever, and say they don't know who Creative Guy is. You fucking liars. You know exactly who I am. And the mere fact that you say, oh, I don't know who you are, just tells me how scared of me you are. That makes you the scaredy of cats. That would be me. My only mission here is to empower you all into this mindset. Why are you bowing to a bluff? These guys, their hands are shown. They are busted straights, busted flushes, nothing higher than a pair of twos. And each and every one of you is walking around with a royal flush 10 to the ace of spades high, baby. And you're not sure if you want to bet? Well, let's put it in the allegorical. If you're sitting at a poker table and you get handed that, let's say you're playing online poker and that comes up in your hand. You're going to be very careful to try to lure as many people into your bluff that you have nothing when you're holding all the cards. The highest hand in the deck. Yet each and every one folds. They're good bluffers. Not anymore. You're holding that hand, boys and girls. And I'm just here to show it. And fuck, how many more times do I got to prove this? Seriously. How many more times do I have to come on the air, especially like even live on the air, and prove this all to you? And I still get asked ridiculous questions. Sesame Street, kids. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things just doesn't belong. Spot the difference. Stop asking me why. Start asking yourself why. It's a spiritual maneuver. You understand who you are spiritually. This is what the masters were trying to teach us all. I just thought, well, you know what? I think they're onto something. Oh, and they were. And every single night here, this is what we do. This is our stable datum point to come to say, yeah, we get it. All right? So there it is. It's very simple. People keep asking me, what do I do, Kate? What do I do? I've said it too many times. There's tons of shit on my website. And if you took the time to read everything, you'd know exactly what to send and who to send it to. You got mortgage issues, well, all the stuff's there. You got this issue, that issue. The bottom line is the name is fraud. You claim to be the name, you're on the Narmer pallet. You're under the spell. You were owned by the dead, king means. Aha, your choice. It really is your choice. So choose. You're going to be a villain or a hero. And I've told you all, there's nothing I see in my movie but superstars. That's it. I've got an all-star superstar cast. Every one of you is supernova. Now prove it. Not like you don't have the tools. I can honestly say I got better things to do with my time. You know? I really do. And getting back to the whole thing about last night, the night before, I mean, really what it is for me is I'm calling out the programs that people are running, and they need to see it. And the only way to get to it is to throw enough of an upset into that program to short it out. And whether they like me or hate me, I don't give a rat's ass because I know what I'm dealing with. Really, are you gonna sit and talk to a TV? Are you going to watch the same episode over and over and try to tell it to change the script? Now, sometimes you got to take a baseball bat and shove it right through the middle of the fucking screen. And that's what I do. I don't just throw it through the screen. I beat the living shit out of it to the point where it says, okay, I'll change the channel. And I don't have to do much. All I have to do is plant a seed, walk away. And that's all I ever do. It's not rocket science. Could be, but it's not. Oh, Mike, I was just going to open your mic there, and you're gone. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. Let me see if you got back to the board, if you haven't put your hand up yet. Oh, yeah, there you are. I'll open your mic up now. Sorry about that. Besides, you can jump in anytime. You got access to the board. The Power of Hosting by Michael. There you go. You are the resistance to fear porn. That's your job, boys and girls. So, Mike, you there? If you are, you're muted. That's okay. But anyway, I just want to see how long it's going to take to see the term I am Phoenician come up. And now, of course, I like throwing little things in to plant seeds in the consciousness of like a cop or a military type that is a bioborg. Just a computer walking around, operating strictly and solely from the reptilian brainstem, which I've said before, in my suspicion, is what the 250 genomes built to remove us, to separate our heaven and hell, to interfere from our chakra line, if you want to go allegorical. It gets between the as below universe and the as above. It's that reptilian brainstem. So I've said this many times. That's the feeling of, that's what that 250 genome strand built. That's your two fused chromosomes. You know, these are just hunches, just feelings. But they feel right for me. And hey, there you are, Mike.
Well, I was drifting, having a little nap, listening, tuning in. Wow, I've had some, I'll call it beautiful forces of nature here in the islands, where I'm connecting with the weather on, kind of like I'm recognizing it as a spiritual level. I'm like, ooh, wow, what's coming here? And I like this, having this, well, instead of tuning into whatever mental programming's running at the moment, I can just see the natural world, and that can bring some wholeness to the self.
Oh, for sure. And again, for me, it's just a matter of scanning and looking at it, seeing what's going on as it relates to my game plan. You know, Duality Storm, Gemini Dragon. Of course, Dragon is in Libra. All of these things that come together and factor together. That's your Western, Mayan, and Chinese zodiacs, just as an example. And this is how I use my own program to rewrite my stars, if you will. You see, as much as I love the importance of astrotheology, which is the true science, the holy science, I also have to temper it with, wait a minute, if I'm reading a horoscope, then I'm at effect. So what I'm doing is, well, I write my own. I use tarot, or I use divinations for that, right? So if it's written in the stars in terms of, and you've heard Santa talk about this many times, in terms of like you're a Leo ascendant like myself and Santo, and that's already written in the stars as we only have benevolent intent. We can't go against that, and that's a fact. I know this. There can't be any malevolent intent. That is a star-written fact. So these are the tools of the stars written previously for me to come in here and then rewrite them again. So strengthen these same ideals. So I write my own star chart. I'm not at effect to it. You know, of course, being born into it, that's part of the causal to effect program. And once you understand this, then you start turning it over, and you become the cause. You change your stars. Otherwise, we'll just keep going around in circles, reading the same books, understanding the same things, and always continuing to be at effect to the same nonsense. So this is taking astrotheology and throwing it on steroids. You know, and there are so many people out there that can read this stuff far better than I. One of my faves, by the way, is Mary's Rainbow. She interprets astrology in the same way that I play with words. Right? She just has a beautiful insight into it. It's so not literal. It's beautiful. So, and I got to say, in the way that reading some of the things that Mary has put together, you know, reading others' charts and whatever, big hats off to you, big curtsy, Mary. This is where these notions of changing one's stars started coming into play, because when anytime she was ever discussing, like even points of my zodiac, she would always write it in a very colorful way. Not your typical, well, this is what this means, because what she was doing was translating it anagogically, which I caught on to, and it really resonated deeply with me. So this is why now, and even like talking with Steve Mahon and a few others, and I've had this suspicion for a while, so I just wait for it to start showing up. And I've had the suspicion that, yeah, we write our own stars. If you want a silver screen version of that, watch A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger. He was so great in that movie. Everyone in that movie was great. And that'll give you an idea that, yeah, your future, you write. That's your book of life. That's the laws that you create within you, your choices. So if you're going to have disdain for others, if you're going to have hatred, and you're going to have, you know, racial slurs and religious slurs and continually separating yourself from the rest of consciousness, well, those are the laws you're writing for yourself, and you will be divided and conquered as a net result of that. That just goes without saying. You know, you throw a brick through a window, it will break. Whose fault is it? Well, don't throw the brick. It's really simple. If thine eye offend thee, pluck it out, or put the fucking brick down. And most of humanity is walking around with a chainsaw, a verbal chainsaw, and you know, proverbial baseball bats. That's the ego. That's the program, the reptilian in you, looking to, you know, beat the shit out of something, climb over somebody's back. We all got totally indoctrinated with this stuff. For some of us, it just never fully sank in. You know, for some of us, yeah, we went along to get along for a while, but it just never felt right. Because you, especially all of you at this table, you know you had something bigger and better to do. You know you have a purpose. You know these things. You don't have to think them. You know these things. And I'm going to tell you why, because I do. So I know you know these things. You know you had a very specific thing to do here. This is the game of God trying to not be God. And some of our points of consciousness got really screwed up in it. Ended up building bioborgs, and then, of course, Atlantis sinks. I did get a chance to look at Pompeii. And yeah, it was quite something. The allegories are rife in this one. And the end of the story is very simple. No one escapes. No one escapes your choices. You write your own book. And that was the biggest thing I took away from Pompeii. Good. The time is now. No one escapes. The book of the dead that people have been living in will be the one that's read for most. Those that chose to step out of the book of the dead realm, the crown, whore, corpse, are the ones that are writing the book of life. They're the ones that actually got the notion and escaped the Narmer palette. That's an allegory. It's a beautiful allegory. But it also shows the nature of the game in the entrapment and the spellbinding that humanity was placed under by a very few aberrated and corrupt aspects of our consciousness. Again, I don't have a problem rebooting my computer. If it's not working right, I'll just reboot it. And all the shit programs, they just get destroyed. I delete them. And we have a choice to either reinstall our newer, higher program or get deleted along with the rest of the idiots. But don't worry, consciousness is an infinite thing for those that have it. Because only those with a conscience can have consciousness. That's where compassion comes into play. Again, seriously, and I will, looking at all of the cops and everything else, and the mayor, and you know, the Mercury editor, and all the rest of these idiots, right? To look them square in the eyes and tell them, says, so how would you feel about me having to be the one to judge you in the same way that Joseph had to, you know, judge his brothers that sold him into slavery? How comfortable would you be with me sitting there, judging you in the same way that you judged me, only this time with truth? There's their fear kicking in. So there's their kangaroo. So that's what this is. It's a page full of kangaroos. How much more do I have to write? Who knows? Who cares? I don't give a shit. Me, it's just about delivering this consciousness baby. And right now I'm pushing, and I know many of you are pushing. And we're breathing. We've learned how to breathe and center ourselves, right? This is consciousness giving birth to a new reality. And you are all mamas. It's that simple. And I think with the system we have right now, I'm tired of the deformed Akhenaten psychotic stillborns. So we remove that from our program. We regain our full consciousness. It's really that simple. So, all right, guys. Well, we got an hour until I'm not going to roll over tonight. I think we're going to get to the point of what we need to get to tonight very, very quickly. But just to let people know, there's still an hour. If you want to call in, you can call in at 661-467-2401. And, of course, on the Blog Talk page, you can hit the Skype button there and Skype in. And once at the table, you can hit 1 to let me know that on your dial pad on the phone to let me know you want in, or open up the dial pad on Skype and hit 1 there, and that lets me know as well. So the table is wide open for anyone that wants to join in. And I'm just scoping down here to see if T called in. So I didn't hear it today. All right, okay, we're good. So anybody wants to jump in here, and let's toss around these concepts of your spiritual causal ability. Well, there's Janet. Okay.
Hi, Kate. Hi, Mike. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Yep. Aloha. Yep, it's taking it down. That's awesome. I mean, that was, yeah.
Oh, by the way, did you guys see that little video? The lady talking, I forget her name. She went up a few times. She did the hidden sounds. And I'm just loving this because it's all starting to come to the fore now. And she was talking about the word mourning. You know, well, mourning is like at a funeral, or mourning is in the sun's coming up. But, of course, that hidden intent contained within it, when you just say things willy-nilly, without really spelling it out in your mind and heart, neutralizing it, saying, well, when I say that sound, it means this. and only this anytime it comes out. So you're never in a weakened or weekend state any longer. You're not in a daze, right?
I was just thinking about the word prophet.
Oh, prophet or prophet, right? And a prophet will lead them. Yes, they go for their money. Well, look at the word morning, which is Gaelic for sweet. Good morning. Works for me.
Yeah, I heard you say that the other day, and I knew that you'd already neutralized it because I could feel that it wasn't the morning sound that I hear from other people. So, yeah, that was really good.
I'll tell you, the more you neutralize words, and again, this carries out throughout the consciousness, but the more you neutralize words, you will start to actually feel others when they say them, so you can actually tell how awake they are. It's like I was saying the other night. I can tell when someone has neutralized a word, what we would deem typically a cuss word, or not. Because if I can still feel it, it's not neutral with them yet. There's still something there. And it's a beautiful tool once you start feeling these things, because you're not going to get duped any longer. You're going to know exactly where someone, that point of view is at, just based on you being silent and listening to the intent in their words. Because those still indoctrinated into the literal, as much as we've dispelled them, they will still carry that intent. Certainly not as strong as it was, but you can tell. And it's a really cool gauge to gauge where others around you are at. And your empathic abilities, your intuitives, skyrocket. They start going exponential. Some of you may have noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
I sure as hell do. That's why 2 weeks ago, man, you could feel the shorting out with these guys. It's like, oh, it's crazy, But seriously, how many times you gotta email and write the same fucking idiots over and over before you get to the point where you're going, nah, these guys are just psycho. These guys are just insane. They're just bio-bored. They don't have a heart. They don't have any compassion. They don't give a shit, because if they did, they'd say, oh, yeah, they don't give a fuck about their families. Maybe their families should know that. Huh? They don't care about their friends. They certainly don't care about the rest of humanity. And I'll tell you, when they come against beings like myself and you guys that are benevolently trying to awaken these most sleepy of sleepies, attacked for it, that tells you even more. They have a psychotic hatred for truth.
It's not just that, though. It's they become angry. It's like when I was talking to this plank from the electoral roll or whatever it was. I thought I was off the electoral roll, and I got a note through or a letter through, and I was like, I shouldn't be on the electoral roll. And he was like, well, you have to be. And I was like, no, I don't. It's all fiction. It's not real. You spent how many years servicing a fictional system? Do you not realize it's just paper? It's illusion. And he was getting more and more angry with us as it was going along. As I was telling them truth, he was becoming more and more resistant to it and getting more and more agitated.
Well, every bit of truth you were sharing ripped another piece off his paycheck.
Yep.
That's all it does. You know? It's like these guys.
Yeah,
and
it's a strange numbness.
Well, it is. It's a complete denial of truth. Because all they're seeing is their physical survival. That's how ingrained that reptilian brainstem is, where people only see from a physical survival viewpoint. That's why they have insurance ads, insurance, unsure minds. Yeah, that's why they have these things. That's why they have these. Holy shit! They're like infomercials when they're talking about a certain drug that fixes this. Then they give you a whole list of things, potentially lethal, potentially blind, potentially, and all that is they're telling you that if you take this, one of these things could happen, and we're not responsible because we told you. And that's exactly what the system is doing.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, here, sign here, but know that your soul is now enslaved and you're going to be vampired by those that are souls and only exist by virtue of their ability to dupe you into feeding them your life source.
Yeah, the reason that they're so desperate to get people on the electoral roll in the UK anyway, not to take things too literal, but what it means is if you're on the electoral roll in the United Kingdom, it means you're a member of the body politic, and so you're liable for council tax.
There you go.
That's why they're so desperate to keep you on the electoral roll.
Oh yeah, again, that's it. And here's the thing too, guys. You know, people that talk to me, how do I do this in my house and that? It says once you know who you are, they can't get jurisdiction, dopey. Someone comes up to your house and says, are you so-and-so? No. Close the door. That's as far as it goes, guys. But it can't be that easy, Kate. It is that fucking easy.
Yeah. No paperwork involved, really.
No, look, Mom, no hands. It is that, literally, that simple once you know who you are. People ask me, I had one guy, well, you know, how was it they weren't able to grab your plates or this? Because they're not theirs. I didn't give them jurisdiction. I'm not in their fucking realm, dopey. What part of one of these things is not like the others? I'm one of these things that's not like them. I don't belong. Sesame Street. Say, magnetic electric. Open, say, me. Get it? It's just a joke, though, right? Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought it was quite interesting as well how I come across that picture of the Pope kneeling just as before you were about to read that thing that you came out with earlier on, Kate.
Oh.
That was awesome.
You're in sync. Synchronicities.
I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm gonna. I know that Mystified shared it.
Yeah, that's right. And just the Pope on his knees, like praying to God, confessing all his sins. Oh my God, Babylon, mystery Babylon, what have we done?
Okay, here, I have to ask this. Now do you believe me? Shock as Pope drops to his knees in public to confess. You're going to be doing a little more than dropping your knees, sunshine. Yeah, shock indeed. Well, I guess this is Operation Shock and Aw. Aw, isn't that cute? These photographs show the moment Pope Francis shocked his congregation by dropping to his knees and confessing to his own sins in Vatican City. I guess he's going to be there for a while.
You could also look at it from a different perspective, and it sort of looks like he's blowing the person that he's sitting in front of, doesn't it? And kneeling in front of.
Well, I think it's really ironic considering how many kids have these guys forced on their knees.
Yeah, that's fucking disgusting.
Oh God, I know.
Yeah, you want to talk the horrors of Babylon? That you see, and here's a special shout out to the Brian Larkins and the Rob Davises and the Karen Farbridges and the Phil Andrews and the Kevin McCarts and the Scottish Steve and Craig Nyes of the world, all of you, and the list goes on. I've countless. Yeah, Steve Harper, you know, Elizabeth Windsor, Barack Obama, or whatever the fuck your name is, Barry Soetoro, whatever. Jorge Bergoglio. I don't care who you are, what you reference yourself as. You know who you are, but more importantly, I know who you are. You're coming down. You're done. I just had the song Wipeout go through my head. Seriously, it's you guys are worshiping you're warmongers. You're worshiping the darkest entities, and you are in a contract, a deal with the devil. That's why I said you're at the crossroads. The contract is now due in full. I'm calling all the boats in. Boat 42 is the first one.
It's funny you should mention Crossroads. Actually, in the TV series Supernatural, I don't know if you've seen it before, but they have the Crossroads demon where you make a deal with them for success for X number of years, and then they come and collect, and your soul's usually the fee.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what they're doing. They're giving. Tell me that my compassion isn't where it is, because I do not want those that have spirit and soul to lose that. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. There are going to be a lot of fully aware, fully awake, very conscious of exactly what they are, slugs, coming up. Go ahead, outrun that boot. And the trick is, the awareness that you are at right now, the consciousness and state of being that you're at in full awareness, is going to be compressed into a slug. And you get to climb your way back. Can you imagine that? A fully conscious, fully aware, able to talk if it had a mouth, slug. And that's what they got coming at them. I think that's a decent fate. That'll be a quick reminder. Yeah, no problem. You can keep your consciousness, but you're going to have a little bit of, merry-go-round and to get back into a human form.
Yeah.
Of course, typically, look at the cops. To me, they're nothing more than predators of recent that just got out of the animal kingdom. So there's those bio Borgs that are being infused. Well, there you have a look at the Egyptians, right? People with birds' heads, jackal heads, cow heads, whatever the case may be. What do you think they're putting in these bodies?
Yeah, I remember watching a documentary about Egypt. They found this massive tomb where they had this gigantic lid on it, and apparently they were doing genetic experiments, and they created some freakish things, and they had to put this giant lid on it to keep this thing in, whatever it was, to kill it.
Yep. There's your Atlantean. There's your system.
Yep.
That's what the Atlantean system is doing. That's what's been messing with the true construct of the infinite DNA. I mean, you can't make this shit up, guys, because it's already there. What's happening now is we're becoming aware of it. I mean, how many people knew that the Hibernians, the Druids, were there long before the pharaohs ever showed up? Remember, the pharaohs, that whole lineage thing, are the remnants of Atlantis. Unfortunately, we didn't get them all on Halloween. That's what Halloween is there for.
Who were the sea people, Kate?
The
Egyptians mentioned the sea people coming in and invading their lands.
Yeah, that was the Phoenicians.
Makes sense.
That's why they're the ones that did all the ancient maps. It only makes sense. And of course, what's Roman law based on? Phoenician. And my feeling on it is things like Carthage were the remnants of those that were correcting the errors of their ways, only to get wiped out by those pharaohs, Pharisees, that, though you call them Israelites, that raped and pillaged Egypt before they fled, and ended up, destroying the libraries of Alexandria, stealing all the stuff out of that, and putting it in Rome and Venice. Of course, and then the rest of those scattered off into Switzerland. Are you telling me that one country, for some reason, hey, listen, I don't think Belgium wanted to get invaded. France didn't. Poland didn't. Why didn't Switzerland?
Yeah, but Switzerland never has. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
And why has he got the Swiss Guard?
Right. So why has Switzerland never been invaded? Oh, because they say don't invade us? Is it a coincidence that St. Paul's Cathedral in London and the Buckingham Palace never got bombed? Because Hitler was under orders not to bomb it. It's all part of the game, boys and girls. That's why they sell the histories the way they do. They keep you thinking that there's a good guy and a bad guy.
Yeah.
Stop buying it. We got Mags in the call here too, by the way. Oops, and 631. I don't know who that is, but let's open that up too. Everyone's in the party tonight.
That's the thing with them, though, Kate. They're not very creative. They always play from the same playbook. They always try and use the same things over and over again, and people just see them coming like the false flags and all that kind of crap, and like playing people off against each other. Blame one sect of the society.
Yep.
This is what they're the enemy. This is the enemy. That's the enemy, and it's not working anymore. It's just completely failing, and the scratching their heads and not knowing what to do anymore.
Yeah, the one trick pony is boring. We're done with the Colosseums and the bread and circuses and all the rest of the things that distract. I mean, have a look at all the typical sports things. Sure, they're fun, but they're still done in the same way. Look, I mean, American football is gladiatorial warfare.
Yeah.
Without the swords, they have all the shields, so they pummel each other. I'll tell you, I'd like to see the pussies that put on all that gear head down to New Zealand and play rugby.
Oh.
That'll sort them out. You think Mike Tyson got his ear bit off? Huh. Yeah. The New Zealand All Black. I'd have a hard time even just going in to watch one of their games, But anyway, that's the nature of the game, though. But that's all it is. It's just gladiatorial warfare without the killing. And on occasion, some people do die, broken necks and stuff. But that's okay, It's the same thing with hockey. They just took the sword and put it on ice. They made the spear into a little round puck.
And lacrosse and other stuff.
Well, lacrosse to me is just a cross, pun intended, between the trident and the net. Right. So again, these are all the symbols, and you can relate them all back. They all make sense, and lo and behold, doesn't the lacrosse stick look a hell of a lot like an ankh without the crossbar?
Yep.
So
is that why? I mean, I don't want to turn it miserable or anything like that, but things like the Inquisition and how the Catholics and the Vatican made such a conscious effort to get rid of all of the shamanic tribes and all of the ancient knowledge, stuff like that, where they wiped out the Druids on Anglesey, and then they tried to get rid of all of the shamans in South America and North America and stuff like that. Is that why their mission was so? They went so far into it to this ancient battle between Lemuria and Atlantis.
Yeah, all we're dealing with right now is the same old, and now we're realizing even more and again that you're dealing with the one-trick pony, that the only thing it can do is bluff because it is spiritually powerless. You're dealing with Bioborg creations, Atlantean demons, if you will. Those are your worshippers of the technologies. Those are your 2045.com Dalai Lama worshipping of the cyborg. The deceivers, the unsee truths, deceivers, are everywhere. And now you have Karen Hood's coming out and talking about two species. There's an alien species running the planet. Well, I happen to agree, but not from the same perspective. There's been a shit pile of interference in our game here, and that's been the way of this. Go back to Robert Morning Sky stuff, and so many others. I mean, Graham Hancock and all of it. You cannot look at all of this and not see the trend. You'd have to be utterly fucking blind, and that's one of the reasons why when people get so specialized in one field or another, they're never going to put all the dots together.
Yeah, they purposely keep all of the sciences separate. They argue against each other, and where things should be merging together, they just chop their research off there and stop, where it would overlap a different field. Yeah, well,
the chemistry and physics periodic tables don't match. How crazy is that? Now, Mags, I've got your mic open. It really is a bit hissy, so I'm going to get you to jump in because I was gonna mute it out, but I want you to jump in. I do think it's you. Just one second, let me check. I'm pretty sure it's your mic. Oh, maybe not. Hang on. Eric, let me try this one. Nope, not 631 either. Thank you, love. Service with a smile, even. I'm not sure whose that is. Well, anyway, there's a hiss going on. But I have area code 631 and Mags. You're both in on the call. Hello.
Oh, hey, guys.
Hey, there you are.
You first. Oh, hey, Kate, how you doing? My name is Jet. I'm out in Long Island, New York. This is the first time I've attempted to get through, and I've got through. This is really the place to be. I mean, I've probably watched about, I'd say partially or fully, maybe 30, 40 shows, and I mean, after all the research throughout the past year and a half since my, is that my dog? Since I've gotten enlightened, I mean, after all the research, this is where, I don't know, my path has brought me, and this is the place to be. I consider you guys, everyone that listens in, and you as my brother or sister, you know, my siblings here, really.
Well, welcome home, my friend. It's great to have you, Jet.
Great.
That's why this table's here. Go ahead, please.
I'm glad to be here. Well, what I wanted to touch on is, you remember the other night when we had the brother on, what was his name, Peter, I think, that he sung the song?
Oh, Ryan.
Okay, Ryan. What he was going through, which you call the blissful state or so, and I'm connecting this to something else that we talked about, or you guys talked about the other night. The day that I got enlightened is when I gave up a multi-million-dollar business, either voluntarily or, and I'm a little nervous, believe it or not, talking to you guys, but giving up on a multi-million-dollar business, either voluntarily or subconsciously. I just needed to do it. When I was on my last $52, do you know what I decided to do? And that was the day I got enlightened. I went out and handed out dollar bills to anybody that I found walking on the street. At the end of the night, I had bought this book on channeling. I opened up the book, probably read the first page or so, and then something happened to me. It was my heart chakra opened up. I didn't know what it was, but for the next 10 hours, I was in a different dimension. Everything was fluid, like that movie in Contact. You remember when she gets to that place where she sees her father, or that. I went to the beach over here, beautiful beach on Long Island. Everything, and I went to where the land meets the sea meets the air. You know, which right on there. I ate the I was taking me and my dog both. That particular night, not all the time, the beach lets off that, what do they call it, that spume, or the suds of the sea. And, I drink seawater, so drink seawater.
Here, check it out. Here's your one of your clues. That's jetsam and flotsam. Just a coincidence.
I haven't heard that one, no. Well, you want to hear about my name? My name actually is Yeton. Jet, you can call me for short, but Yeton in my language, I'm Albanian, is the infinite verb of live.
It's a void.
And Yeton,
Jet
live.
means black, so that's the creation void. Yeah, absolutely. Live.
Yes, definitely. Everything came alive. I'm talking about everything. The moon, the stars, they were much more vivid, and it was phenomenal. And ever since then, oh my God, I mean, synchronicity after synchronicity, because what I did, manifestation, oh my God, I was just a manifesting generator, because what I did was I requested to be shocked on a daily basis. And you know what? This is, we're going to bring it on. And they brought it on every day. Something shocked me through research, that would topple what I learned yesterday. And I mean, I was always scientific in my childhood, and such like that. I was, a jack of all trades, which I heard you guys just speaking of. A person that's of many talents, and so that's the type of person I am. And similar to you, I'm I was a contractor or at least I was a contractor all my life, a roofer, by the way. And
awesome.
What was I on? Yeah, isn't that crazy? Successful. It was my lifelong dedication. It was my lifelong mission to basically reach the top. I'm driven to get to. Obviously, if I'm here, you have to be driven. Or at least So made it to the top. Found out that I didn't want to be there. You know, I was never, I couldn't be a mean or evil, a mongering type of a money person. I made the money, but never lost respect. Never through fear. Ever, never. I could have been much richer. Gave up everything. My last $52, which brings me to my next thing that I wanted to go over to you. That woman that you mentioned, that she had the answer to everything. Was it 52 or 42?
Oh, 42. Yeah, it's from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The answer is 42.
Oh, 42. Okay, because I thought it was 52. I had my last $52. I handed it out to God.
That's the number of cards in the deck. That's your tarot. That's the tarot number. So that's 5 plus 2 is 7. It's Save N, which is self for self itself, all creation, they in truth, and that is mine. So that's why the 7 is the all of you, because it's the all of creation truth within you. You create the laws of your universe within you. So if you have vengeance, what do you expect to see in the reflection? Carry on. You're doing this. You're not nervous. You're having a great time. This is exactly what.
No, now I'm not. I think my father even walked in. My dog's barking over here. And now I'm like, I'm nice and smooth. 52. I thought it was insignificant at the time, and then now, now that I start, hey, the universe. Oh my God. It just sends you synchronicities. I never knew about numerology, or I just brushed it off. Now I'm getting 111s today, all day. I had 4 1s, 3 1s, probably twice or 3 times. In the past 3-4 months. I mean, and I look them up right away. Master Builder, this or that. Creation, or start of a new. Which is the ones, I guess. Or you could correct me, because hey, I'm new to this. I mean,
you're right on. I'll tell you what that is.
I am a master.
Yes, you are. And what you're getting with all of these things that are sync, SYNC, what you're doing with those are your road signs that you're on Interstate 60. Keep following.
I tried looking that up. I didn't watch that movie. I was going to watch it, because what I did do today was Terrence McKenna, because I think that was yesterday, the day before. I get a lot of, sometimes you don't remember where you get this stuff. There's a place where I go to, I get alkaline water, locally, because I don't drink tap water, and I get alkaline water there, and there's a bunch of teenagers there, and, young adults and such. And every time I go there, I basically give them tidbits of information that I get through my research, and I mean they really utilize this. They have a lot of potential. And then the next time, a month later, I can't remember what I've told them, but I know what I've told them. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, I know all about that." I'm like, "Yeah, I think I might have told you about that." So I must have gotten a lot of information to me, because it's been about 8 months.
You're planting the seeds, and what's happening then when you plant that kangaroo jump around in someone's left brain, because you see, our consciousness has been starved of truth for so long, and this is what you're finding are the real living soul and spirit within each point of view, each point of consciousness, and when you speak truth, whether the ego typically wants to deny it, but the spirit always hears it. And because that's that thirst of truth that people are literally dying of thirst, and the water is right in front of them. What you're doing is you're offering the canteen to them, and they drink, and then they go looking for more canteens all by themselves. So that's you knock the domino over when you plant one seed, and what happens then is they start knocking all their own over. So this is the power of you, the power of planting the kangaroo. Okay, so plant them. And you're going to see these beautiful moments. They call them magic moments, baby.
Definitely. I mean, I've withdrawn a little bit from having connecting really fully, because I mean, at one point after my enlightenment, I didn't know what happened to me. All my chakras opened up. This is unbelievable. I took it to another level. When when you see Bruce Lee and those Shaolin Knights, when they can jump up walls and stuff, I was able to do that stuff. I mean, I was jumping over fences. I found a way, deep in my thoughts and in meditation. I've went into meditation so deeply after that, and I've never done meditation before. It came natural to me with some research, online. God bless the internet. God bless this portal. Could you imagine if you needed to see, if we were in ancient times, and then you needed to seek out information. You would have to leave your village, risk war, life, being kidnapped, whatever, to probably go to either Egypt or the Promised Land or something to find information. And they conveniently gave us, these books and beliefs and stuff, which I knew there was something to it, but I knew there was something fishy about that. Well, that's why I was never believed. Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the problem with the Atlantean mindset, right? You see, because the Atlantean mindset cannot create, it is completely dependent upon the creative spirit, the living spirit. And it has to manipulate those of us with the creative spirit in order to get us to build their technologies that they use against us. That's what's happening.
I completely agree. I'm finally understanding that. They're used, but from when? From inception. From when we are created on this earth.
It's right in the DNA.
The children, the poor children. You know that when I do have kids, I haven't got any kids now, I am going to make dolphins appear. I mean, with their power, I'm just going to assist them in their mastery. I mean, if they, how open-minded these kids are, and they're halfway between this dimension and spiritual magnificence, I guess, from source. And when they want something, if you facilitate that, they can achieve anything they want. Some people don't even know their power.
Well, see, that's the problem with the DNA corruption. So when the child comes out, it's already got a corrupt program running in it, okay, to whatever degree. It depends on the bloodlines and where they came from. And also, the canvas, as soon as you come out, that canvas is painted for you from other aberrated DNA programs that have been running the same old. You see, in order to create a spiritual robot, you have to be conditioned into things like calendars. You have to be conditioned into the divide and conquer of separating the now moment into past and future realities. So that's where the calendars are the most insidious of all, in that, okay, let's start at January 1st, Happy New Year, then we go through all these different dates. You've got Groundhog Day, then you've got Valentine's Day, then you've got St. Patrick's. And what it does is it conditions people into it. And I know people in my life that, you go to their place and the whole place is done up according to the calendar. And I'm thinking, now that's robotic.
Right.
Because you're going to the attic at that time of year every year, or wherever you keep the stuff, running the same program, doing the same
ritualistic.
It is.
It's ritualistic. Yeah.
Robotic. Over and over.
Hey, do you believe in this? I didn't cut you off about the 13-month thing with the 28 days. Have you ever heard of Maurice Cauterell? He fascinated me.
Oh yeah,
Maurice Cauterell.
Yep.
He's found the sun has a cycle exactly 7 days, and then it turns from negative to positive face. But then it also has a entire, I don't know how to word it like he does, but 28-day cycle, and that adds up to 13 months. And they're kind of throwing us off. Yes?
Let me throw that in the mirror for you, because I looked at that.
Sure.
So I'm going to look at it. You see, we're dealing with a calendar that is 365 days in a year. Okay, that is corrupted. And what corrupted it was the insertion of the moon in the orbit, which has taken us out of our normal cycle. So the 13 cycle, 360 degrees in a circle, can be divided by 12, not 13. So to me, the moon is the aberration that was introduced into throwing our cycles off by 4.5, 5 days every year. So it throws us out of the loop, and it also throws us confusion in because, one, there are 12 zodiacs. There is a 13th hidden, the 13th.
Yes. I wanted to hear that from you guys. Because I'm a Sagittarius, right on the cusp of December, and I don't know. There's something. I'm just getting into this, so it's in the process. I'm gonna learn all about astronomy, astrology, and such like that. So continue.
Let me save you a whole lot of time. I'm going to save you a shit pile of time. Because what we're dealing with here are the 12 zodiacs, with the 13th being Ophiuchus. That is the healer, right? So you've got to earn the 13th. And what's been happening with the moon is it's been forcing a 13-month cycle into a 360-degree circle. This is why the work that Frank Chester has been doing with the Decatria, which is the 13-sided perfect geometry, and his chestahedron, which is a 7-side perfect geometry. What he's done is he showed the other side, the true side. That's a 7 and a 13. There's your God aspect, the all creation of truth, and 13, which is the 13th warrior, which is neither of these are platonics. We've all been taught about the platonic solids, all involving everything except, for me, the two most critical that Frank Chester has brought to light. Okay, so I don't get caught up in 13 cycles, where someone has changed the zodiac in 13. That to me is going exactly backwards, because 365 days should be a big enough clue that there's a 5-day out in the orbit, the natural orbit. And the only thing that could do that is something the size of the moon, to pull us away from the sun, to give that illusion, to allow the moon, the emotions to rule instead of the sun within, right? So there's my Leo ascendant, my Virgo moon clues that I pulled together. The 13th warrior, Ophiuchus, well, it's in the name, O-Phi-U-Q, okay, which you put into place. On the phonics, it's a big cosmic joke, which, or it's the O-Phi-U-Cus. So O, creation, Phi, there's the golden mean, right, sacred geometry, 1.618. U, international symbol for electricity, masculine intent, Cus, to curse, or Q, to put in place. So you take your Q's, mind your P's and Q's, or your R's and Q's. Okay? Right. War of the Roses, baby.
Yeah,
yes,
well, baby.
It got late.
And you're always thinking the 13th. I always avoided 13, this and that. Now I made a rope, a dog leash for my dog. 2 of them, by the way. With 13. You have any significance to that number, or why did I think that was? Yes. 7
and 13 have always been my 2 lucky numbers.
Yeah, I always thought that 13 wasn't, 7 was, but I can't remember why 13 was now. Yes. Well, that's why I made it. That's why I made the 2 leashes out of 13. I checked my old leash, and it was exactly 13 feet. So I made. I was like, wow, what are the chances of this?
Okay. Well,
13 months in a year. Yes.
Well, let me share it this way. Everything that I saw that was being made out to be evil, I said, it must be good. Let me have a look at it.
Right. That's why I look at it now. Everything. I question everything. I'm making my own rules, now. And I exactly what you just said. I'm looking at everything, and you have to go back. You have to go back to childhood. Actually, you to transmute and to really get to mastery, you have to forgive. I know you went on that, the rant. You had to vent it out yesterday. I heard that part of the thing. Believe me.
Jet, hang on. Let me clarify. That's why I said what I said at the beginning. What I'm giving out is the neutral description, but I will share it with a way that will trigger the right emotions. I'm very careful with what I write. With me, it is all about complete and only compassion. It's like I said last night. Any one of these individuals that's come against me and harmed me, any one of them, they come up to me. That's all they got to do. Say, listen, I get it. I'm sorry. Well, you don't need to apologize. All I needed to do was get it, because it's your soul on the line here, which is part of me, and I'm trying to save me by saving me, right? So
I agree.
There is no vengeance. I love my nemesis, my no vengeance, my enemies. Right? This is going back a long time. And this is a very, very difficult concept to convey, because this is exactly what the free men on the land and any of these idiots that are still playing in the legal nightmare, still going for petitions and still chasing Nasara and all the rest of this shit. By the way, guys, a couple of posts came on my Facebook. Are you paying attention? Don't put any of that shit on my website or on my Facebook. Please. It's just showing me that you're still retarded. You're still looking for a savior outside of yourself. You're it, baby. Because here's the truth of the matter as far as it pertains to me. You are the Christ consciousness. You are the Joseph that with many colors, and it will be you based on your law, that will have all of the other brothers come before you for you to decide based on what they've done. And what did Joseph do? He fucked with them a little bit. That's all I'll do.
Mm-hmm.
You get it now? You know, that's basically it.
Yeah, this is definitely great stuff. I mean, this is this is the center of the universe, but how big is the center of, not the universe, of in creation? We're in the heart of it at the same time, living this physical experience for our greater expressive discovery. You
are you right now. There is no other moment but right now. You are you right now. You're fully aware of you right now. What are you going to do with it? That's the trick.
Exactly. Right.
So I know I'm immortal. I know I'm immortal. I don't think it. I know it.
Once you conquer the fear, or once you conquer the fear of death, you have people that are struggling for that. They have to conquer that first. They have to conquer that first. They have to conquer their fear of death. Once you do that, you break through to a state of mind.
And look what this. I was going to say, look what the system sells on TV every day. You don't see joyous things in the news. No, they're going to tell you about all the murder, death, kill wars, the murder, death, kill accidents, the murder, death, kill storms, and it's all based on negative to keep people in a constant state of mortal fear. That's what makes you mortal.
And they're basically controlling our spiritual energy through our thoughts. Because if you don't, leave your doorstep, in the morning, and know that you're creating your reality. I mean, hey, I forget it sometimes, and I sway away, but it must be for my growth. In other words, we come back down because I could stay in meditation, and it's just I need to come back for my, to assist others, to find their truth, and I guess that's why I'm still here.
I'd say just hang out. You know what, my friend? I would say just. Don't worry about that. You're here to save you, because when you do that, you've saved it all anyway. This is why I drill this home every day. Mm-hmm. Meditate.
But you have some endurance. You have some very good endurance. I mean, you're here doing this. But to do that, and because I find it hard to be involved with everyday stuff. Because you need. I know you would probably say something. It's just that, you need money to kind of... I can't seem to find a forest to live in, I can't seem to find a forest to live in.
Okay, here's what you need to do. This is all you need to do. Then I'm going to do my shout-out. You need to sit and watch Interstate 60, okay? Because you will get it. You will get it, okay? I know that just by listening to you. You will get it. And you will giggle like a 12-year-old schoolgirl, I promise you. But let me do my shout-out. I just want to do a great big thank you to Paul Giovanni and the crew at Critical Mass Radio, Ninja, Rob Freeman, Mike, Mark, Chris, everybody, all you guys, everybody that's chipping in and doing their thing. And don't be impressed, I'm just a stubborn Irish bitch. That's what I do, okay? So I'm good with that. But a great big thank you to Paul Giovanni and, of course, all of you guys. And I will not call you a collar, because what is a collar? Well, it's something you put on a dog, right? So that's why the cops talk about collars all the time. But anyway, I just want to say a great big thank you, criticalmassradio.co.uk, and everybody out there that's doing whatever needs doing to keep this table where it's supposed to be. It's not going anywhere, boys and girls. This table is here, and it's not going away, because I'll tell you what is going away, this evil construct. And when we can take Pope Francis and toss him onto his knees, I don't know about you, but that tells me everything I need to know, because that's exactly what was in my mind today. So it's really kind of funny that you brought that up, Mystified. Not at all, but you know what I'm saying. But anyway, so we're out of here in about 12 minutes or so. So, guys, jump in. And Mags, you haven't jumped in yet. And hang in there, Jet. Everyone's here. So we got Mystified and Janet. So, and anybody else, you got 12 minutes until we're out of here until tomorrow night. Because I really want you guys to take the time to spend with your most beautiful essence in the universe. You're worth it. Trust me. I know. I promise.
No, I was just sitting listening to another person that's gone through all of the pitfalls, got past all the shysters, and broken through all of the false prophets to get to the right place. That's all. So I was just sitting back listening.
Yeah. What was your name?
That's
what was your name? I wasn't listening. I was listening for about 20 minutes or so.
Mystified.
Oh, Mystified. And what were you in Ireland?
No, UK, England.
Yeah, you're in the north, aren't you? Northeast?
Yeah, northeast.
Yeah.
In between Newcastle and Sunderland.
Yeah. I got family up in Darlington, eh?
Yeah.
You know what I'd like to...
oh, hey, Michael, I forgot you were there because you didn't put your hand up.
Yeah. We were sharing that where the land and the sea and the air meet. It's like something's right there, and there's this just other world you can open up to through that confluence.
What that was there was also a myth about the Mayans or so that a white tall white gods came from the north or something to South America, and his name was something like Quetzalcoatl, and what that means in that language is the suds of the earth or something like that. If anyone knows better, they can say it, but it's where the land meets the ocean, meets the air, the three materials. What's left is the ether, which is all around us.
Well, yeah, Quetzalcoatl, one of the other interpretations is feathered serpent. And to me, that was the Ebi, that is the Druid, the Lemurians. You see,
right.
when you're dealing with a bunch of techno freaks, that are essentially, if you want to see what they are, just watch Terminator. You'll understand what you're dealing with. That is the technocracy. You can call it oligarchy, whatever you want to call it, but effectively what you're dealing with are constructed bioborgs, and they take on the full guise of human, but they're nothing more than biocomputers with programs running in them. They lack compassion. They have no sense of feeling, and the only thing that drives them is the same thing that drives the ego: pure and only pure physical survival. They're easy to spot. They're the ones that are hoarding. Right now, I know quite a few people. I've met quite a few people that are in the multi-million bracket, and there is a huge difference between creators, the real spiritual creators, versus the hoarders. That's where the hoarder, that's the whore god, whores of Babylon comes from, right? That's people like the royals, the Mountbattens, the Guelphs, the look at the quote Illuminati bloodlines, and so on and so forth, and you'll understand what you're dealing with. I mean, hell, you've got another version of Akhenaten sitting on the throne of the White House, along with his transgendered partner, who is mimicking the role of Ma'at. So what they're mimicking in the literal physical is Ma'at and thought, right? You look at the ancient hieroglyphs, and the bark of Ra has thought and Ma'at traveling in it. So these are, I look for the physical manifestations of how these copycats, that's why everything is copyright, what these copycats are doing to mimic creation herself. So the interference to me was the interloping, third-party interloping into the natural order of creation herself by fucking with the DNA. It's quite that simple. And we got Mark in. Wow, I haven't heard from Mark in a while.
Hi, Kate.
Hey. How we doing tonight? How we doing?
Yeah, great. You?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just saying the table, everything. Is this not like the? Is this not the shit? Is this not the cat's ass or what?
Hey, the shizzle.
Yeah, the shizzle.
No, I just thought I'd just come in, Kate. I'm sorry, I've been a bit elusive.
Oh no, you're doing your thing. I know who you're hanging out with, so I know what's going on, and you're doing your thing, and this is beautiful. It's all good.
Kate, I've got to share this story with you tonight. We're in Norwich, and we go out. We're looking for somewhere to park, and this is just your average story, but it's not. And we're looking for somewhere to park, and find somewhere to park. And I go and get ready to put some money in the machine. And I'm looking up at this sign, and it's got two signs, and it's kind of looking a bit confusing. I'm thinking, now, does it say I have to pay, or does it say that you're only be a permit holder? So I'm looking a bit perplexed, and I'm looking back at Sherry, and all of a sudden this guy comes out from nowhere on a bike, and he stops and he says, No, I wouldn't park there if I was you. He says, I come down here every night at about 8:30, and I tell everybody, basically, you're all going to get a nice ticket. And I thought to myself, well, that was great timing, Kate. Synchronicity.
Oh, for sure.
Do you know what I mean? These things kind of just come out of nowhere. And you have to follow that yellow brick road. Do not discount it, people.
Ever.
Definitely.
Ever. Not. So it's only a small little story, and it's kind of another part of the yellow brick road, Kate.
Well, again, that's what I'm asking people to do. Pay attention to your creations. I have not an issue in the world looking at the headlines and things like the bin before it's news, and then I transmogrify them into my reality, and then I watch it all shift the next day. But, to hear the Pope shocking his congregation by dropping to his knees, that's the power we have. I'll take credit for that, because that's exactly what my intent has been for the last few days, to get these guys on their knees finally. And there's Pope Francis. That works for me.
Exactly, Kate. Exactly.
And like any broken computer, sorry, you're soulless and you're just a bioborg. No, you get dumped in the garbage.
Yep.
And creation will take care of the aberration contained within the DNA all by itself, because we, the spirit that is awakened, know how to fix it. That's what happens when there's only one road out of here, people, and I keep telling you. Yeah, you can talk about all sorts of versions of religions and paths. There is only one fucking road. Truth. And there's your why in the road. Fork in the road, okay? And I'll tell you what it is. Deny the truth. Don't worry, the cab driver will make you pay the fare, and you will pay the ferryman. Or stand in the truth. And I'll tell you, when you stand in the truth, not only will it scare the shit out of you, but it scares the shit out of those that are afraid of you doing that. And they will come at you with all of their bluffed hands, all of their 3-card Monties, all of their little tricks of the physical to scare you back into their fear reality. And when you finally find Interstate 60, your yellow brick road, and then you know who you are, then you will have exactly the same effect on the system as I do, as others do. I just get the joy of showing it on the air and living color and video, That's the only difference. You're God, get over it. I keep telling you that. Start acting like it. Nothing can harm you.
The original Babylon paid the piper. With Genghis Khan and his horde.
Yeah, and isn't it funny, they just found Attila the Hun's grave? In Hungary? Yeah, what are the odds of that? Pretty good, apparently.
You got to listen to your heart, Kate.
Oh, that's all I listen to. From that completely compassionate position, I don't wish anyone any harm. My only interest is, well, here's your mirror. Not what I would do, and it's not what I've ever done to you, so have a look in your mirror, and don't worry about it. I'm not judging you. I just need you to see it so that you can go, oh, thanks, and then go, cool, can we go play now? I'm only interested in other beings to play with now. And I don't care if they're former family, friends, future acts of I don't give a shit who they are, as long as they're pure and they stand in truth.
Unconditional love, Kate.
That's it.
Unconditional love. Last night was very powerful, Kate.
Oh, yeah, I was in a roll.
Yeah. I'm glad I allowed the big truck to meander through last night. I didn't,
I get you. I know the magic that Sherry concocts. It's all good. I have one of the recipes, eh?
I had to.
It's funny. What I mentioned there earlier in the chat, there's an episode of Star Trek, the original series Star Trek, called The Archons, I think, or Return of the Archons, or something like that. And it's like this entire society controlled by a computer.
Yeah. Well, that's the return of the spirit breath cons. And you're being conned out of your spirit breath. We as spiritual creative beings have placed everything so perfectly in plain sight for us to decipher, to wake ourselves out of this little nightmare and to take down all of the literally dead biocomputers. There is nothing alive about them. That's the illusion. The only thing that runs 90 seconds. The only thing that runs them is the program. And it's all about pure survival, pure greed. That's how you know a psychopath and a serial killer, because that's all they operate on. Pure survival only. And they're the ones that have been put into positions of power, i.e. chiefs of police, you name it. And see, here's the thing. The courts, do you really want to romance sin, evil? That's what court means. You want to go out and date it? Go to court. The court. Not me, thanks, I'm good. But the courts are run by the police, not the other way around. It's the police that put the bailiffs in the courts. The armed guards. No, the courts work for the police. The courts are the middle guys. And they get paid handsomely. That's what keeps them bought and paid for. And there's a handful of them in that genre to make sure that all of the bullshit is kept to where it is. It's the ones above them, the unseen, that are controlling it.
The cities that employ the judges in Britain. Like the local authorities.
Yep. So there you go. Listen, we got 10 seconds to roll out here. Anybody wants a last comment or two? Jump in now.
Yeah, Kate, Sherry wants to say hello.
Oh, hey, good stuff.
Hi there, Kate. Just like I said, just want to say hello.
Hi, baby.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. We're in a beautiful place at the moment. We're sitting on a mill, and we have the waters of truth running under the building. It's just amazing. And if I had to say anything, would be about Frank Chester when he gets to the end about the heart and the fifth chamber opening. All I could think of was a fucus, and we have to stand in that flame. And no matter how uncomfortable that feels for us, we have to stand in that truth and in that love. And that's what it really represents to me, what Frank Chester was talking about.
Well, exactly. And just to go back on what Jet was saying earlier with regards to my delivery, for me, it's about collecting goats. I need to get the goat in order to get the attention. So if I say things that will poke the ego to get it to rear its ugly programmed head.
That's why I said to Mark that
that's what I do.
That's what she's doing.
You know exactly how I work.
Yeah,
I use the program against itself.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's great, honestly. Just everything is perfect. The synchronicity happening everywhere. And I'm feeling that, we are walking down that path, all of us, and we're growing in numbers, and people are finding their hearts and finding their courage. And, this is just a done deal. It's just, we're just waiting for, the stragglers to come along, but they are. We're only headed in one direction now. We all know that. We really do. I do anyway, deep in my heart.
Oh, we all know, Cher. We all know.
Yeah.
And that, you see, this is the power of exponential. You see, this snowball took a while to get it going, but it is screaming on the mountain now, from the mountain of truth, and it is pulverizing Pompeii.
Absolutely. I think that, like, for me, just on my own experience, it just the waking up process and just realizing it all just sent me into chaos and mayhem, and you know that, Kate. And I fell over all over the place. And for all of you, anyone who's listening that's fallen over, just
failing is not falling over. Failing is failing to get up once you've fallen over. And, you know...
You know, the way I look at it is, would you have done it again? Of course you would have. You know, you have to kind of you kiss the ones who've betrayed you or who've done you wrong, that brought you to this place, because if not, you wouldn't have been there. Could you imagine that? And you would have been back on that old road? No way. I am so glad I'm here. I know I might be upset occasionally with, you know, betrayal and all that stuff. You know, I've forgiven it, and it comes back for clearing. You got to go back in there and just, you know, forgive it, because it's for your, you know, for your own purpose. Yep. Okay.
Do you want to go here? Tell you what, before I don't even like using the word forgive, because what it's saying is, for the hex I have. Okay? You're also passing judgment. So here's the easiest way to get rid of any of that stuff. Show gratitude for it, because what it showed you was the contrast of what you would do, but you would never do it again. Take the gratitude of it. That's, you see, the very system that came against me was the very thing that motivated me to where I am right now. And go ahead, ask me how grateful I am. Why do you think I have no vengeance? Because I can't. Why would I be vengeful against the very thing that woke me?
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So that you want to nullify any of that guilt or anxiety or whatever the hell you want to call it, it kills it immediately. As long as you get it from the perspective of, look, if I hadn't went through that, if I hadn't been kidnapped, family ripped apart, house, everything stolen, all in literally one day, I would not be sitting here right now. Go ahead and ask me if 5 years ago if I'd be sitting here doing this right now. And I'd shake my head at you and call you loony. Okay? So
gratitude.
Gratitude is all you need.
Say that, Kate.
What's that?
I think a lot of us could say that.
Oh, everyone at this table can.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that. That's why you're here. I know God when I see it. Sorry.
It's that fucking contrast.
Yeah, that's all it is.
It becomes the enabler.
Because it breaks the heart open. You know, there's two ways when the heart breaks. It either breaks down and you close down, or it breaks open and it releases, and from that place, because we can learn everything, but if your heart's not open and you know, that's all you have to follow. You really have to follow that, and that's where people are wanting to. They're feeling it, and you know, that's where the pain comes. Because really, if anything, you're giving yourself that hard pain, because it's that fear. You're still trapped in that fear. But once you start taking them steps, you know, you just keep rolling, and the synchronicity happens, and you know, and it's not like it's not about forgiving anyone. But whenever I say sorry to someone, I'm not saying it to them because for them, I'm saying it for me, because if I've done something and I feel I am truly sorry, I say it for myself. It's saving me all the time and not for the other person. So to look at when you apologize to someone from that place, because who sleeps with me at night? I do. I sleep with my own mind and my own heart. So when you say sorry and you can be in that state of grace and realize, and not forgiveness, but being very grateful, it feels good. It really does feel good.
Oh, for sure. And it's totally awesome. Guys, I'm going to roll out of here. It's because I need to. But again, great big thank you to Steve Mahon, who, well, I said it the last couple of nights. That was the proverbial kick in the ass, stop being such a wimp pussy, and get back to what I do best, and that's rip the shit out of egos. That's what I do best. I know that. I'm Gemini, Dragon, Irish, fucking bitch. That's it. And I'm stubborn. And I only get motivated with truth. So I have no issues in any contrast whatsoever. So on that note, guys, I just want to say a great big thank you. And yeah, we could probably go on and on and on, but guys, I just need some time, you know.
Yeah, don't worry about a kid.
No worries, but well, you know, again, back tomorrow night, and tomorrow I believe is you guys roll over in the UK.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, so
tonight, Kate.
Oh, it's tonight. So tomorrow night will probably be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard start time. So I'll double check in the morning anyway. Here, but then I don't have an issue going, the 3 hours. It's still a long haul for me, guys. It's like, 7 nights a week, right? So But I will always do my best to see what kind of mood I'm in. Like last night, we were just wailing it through. So, yeah, I know. But anyway, much love, and I'm here, and you know that. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Now go out and be the gods you are, and start scaring the shit out of these guys. You've got a beautiful little note there that you can fire off with your intention. Right. If you can feel that, then it doesn't matter who it goes to. Just send it. Get the intent out there. That's the power of you. I'm interested. Not
kangaroo action.
Kangaroo action, baby. Get hopping. We are in Oz, after all.
Love you all.
Love you guys.
Good night, folks.
Magical now. Good night.
Nice chatting with you.
Love you all.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun tonight. I just feel it. Can you feel it? I can feel it. So let's carry on here. Let me get this thing open. So this is going to be going out to the usual, you all suspects. Yeah, the little things, the dusties that get in your eye and you just kind of wipe them away. I got to tell you, in the number of things that I have, especially to the Guelph, any of these police things and courts and shit like that, the number of things that I have sent, I mean, you'd have to be absolutely mentally fucking retarded or psychopathic to not react to it. And I would have a tendency to lean towards the psychopathy or the soulless aspect of these biological bioborgs is what I'm going to call them. They're not cyborgs. Psi is spirit. There's nothing spiritual within these constructed meat sticks. They're just like any computer. They look like they're alive. Think about Data. You remember Data from Star Trek Next Generation? Well, Data was a soulless, spiritless machine. And I don't see any difference between something that's put together with silicon chips or biological chips, because to me it's all energy. We are walking around in biological computers, if you will, right? That's the construct. And for those that have seen Terminator, it shows you the tying together of the skeleton, the endoskeleton. It's metal and has flesh on the outside. Without getting too technical on this, it doesn't take the imagination far to not. You don't even have to stretch the imagination to see the comparative difference and absolute similarity of a biological computer versus a synthetic computer. Much in the same little unit that I'm working through here right now. Again, it's this computer that I'm using will only perform as per the programmings that are in it and those that I choose to put in it to maximize what it is I want this computer to do. And I see, and I've met too many of these soulless types in terms of, they call them police officers. I just call them biocomputers programmed to operate at their master's programming at whatever level. Of course, we can get on all the literals of the corruptions of the ancient schools, the Masonic being corrupted, and all the rest of these nonsense things that go on with a feeble attempt to keep humanity from awakening and finding out that you are all creation itself and that you have been vampired on for too long. I would just suggest it's time to stop that. And really, all I have to do to stop it is get the concept, people. That's it. So let me see. Where do I start? Well, first thing, let's see if my coffee's too hot to drink. Yeah, it is. So I'll just carry on here anyway. Now, I did pass this along to Ninja. I'm not sure when she'll get it. It was, again, I just finished it. So, and for those that want to read along that are on my Facebook, I've also shared it in one of the Skype rooms that I can share it in because the other two rooms are too large for posting files. Yes, system. We have full Skype rooms, and I'm only in a couple, right? And I know these truths go out to countless tens, if not hundreds of millions of people that are awakening. And this is what you're all starting to see for yourselves. The more you awaken, Isn't it funny how everything around you starts to awaken too? Well, that's because you're lateral time shifting and you're moving into that timeline where the more awake version of you, that point of view, is there with you, right? And that's what I'm experiencing with all of you. So that's why I don't pull any punches, and I don't care to what extreme I have to go, whatever it takes. That's the unconditional aspect of truth. Whatever it takes to get the truth, and then to get the truth out, to see what resonates. And again, with me, it has to feel right at the same time. And I call those aha moments. And that's when you know you're building your bridge across this nightmare illusion that has been constructed for you. So, my throat, and let's go. So it's titled, well, you'll see it, I'll probably have to, what do you call it? No, I'll leave the title as is, because the header on it is You and Your Psychopathy by Kate of Gaia. But right above that is Dear System Worshipping Whores of Babylon. And that's anyone that works for government, law firms, cops, militaries. I don't care what level of government employee you are. If you have an employee contract with any government agency, any corporation, bank, etc., that's everything. To the degree that you are agreeing with it is the degree that you are in a whore in Babylon. There is no easy way to say this. So why bother? You just say it, and that's the truth. And you get to decide in your own heart, in your own mind, what truth is to you. And the trick with truth is, once you discover it, once you uncover it, you have a choice now to stand in it or deny it. And what I've dealt with in the system for far too long are countless beings, whether they have souls or not, that continually deny it. And that's sort of what the premise of this is all about. And I have a couple of sneaky suspicions. I kind of brought it up last night, but it's becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. How many of you out there are going to be the Joseph in the coat of many colors, where you will be the one judging your assailants? Well, it's an easy answer. Would you want me to judge you in the same way that you have wrongly judged me? I think not. It's the same way as having a chocolate bar sitting on I've talked about this in creation itself. You have a chocolate bar sitting on the table. This system has been cutting the chocolate bar in half and picking its own half first, which is typically 99.9% of the chocolate bar, where those that actually create the chocolate bar are left with a crumb.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Ow! Welcome to Saturday night. I guess this is typically Katie rant night, but I've been having a couple of nights. Let's go for the hat trick. Screw it. Anyway, welcome to Outside the Box. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, here on criticalmassradio.co.uk, coming at you live from an undisclosed location somewhere in the proverbial universe. That's your mind, by the way. Now, I'm not sure how clear it's coming across because I picked up a headset a little while back, and I used it once. I think it was on Mike's show, and it seemed to be working okay. So if anyone's in the Skype room, I just want to maybe get a little sound check and just to make sure that it's coming across nice and clear. Oh, isn't that interesting? Thanks, thanks, Stevie. Mystified. Did you see a picture of the Pope on his knees at the confession box? Pretty telling picture. That's right. Get on your knees, bitch. Your time is up. I'm done with you. I think the whole planet is too. That's the bitch. That's the real bitch. And I'm just about to share a little something I literally just finished. So, and there's Stevie M. Hello, Mr. Mahon. There we go. And Mr. means son of. Isn't that interesting? Yes. There we go. And reposted. Pope Francis drops to his knees, St. Peter's Basilica, to confess. Yes, my friend, confess all your sins, because isn't it coincidental that I just finished writing this little piece that I'm going to share with you all now. And, of course, it will be sent out for the Sunday funnies. And hopefully they'll get up Monday morning when they get to their slave jobs. Because April 1st is coming up, and that's April Fool's Day. And let's just sort the fools from the foals, right? The fallen angels, if you will. We're done. So done. Anyway, let me see. Yeah, I posted it on Facebook, by the way, and, I got room for one in my Facebook. Yay! Ryan, I added you, and I sent you a request. Looks like you may have already added, so just let you know. I do have room for one. Anyway, as you are all fully aware, anything that I write, and I have for quite a while, is written in completely neutral Phoenician, where all the words are neutralized. I do that as I go. And I've been doing it for so long, it's a common thing to me now, a with me thing, or think, more accurately. Even when I'm using vowels and the G's and W's and all the rest of it, those are all nullified with the intent of the correct intent placed in there. I typically try to keep things as, quote, normal, unquote, in writing, just so I can convey the ideas that people are used to seeing in common speak. But I assure you, anything that you read that is mine is from a completely Phoenician understanding, going back to the days of the Druid. So what has happened here is that knife has been taken out of their hand, and I get the cutting. I get to do the pair-ing, or the pair-ink. Interesting. Wonder where I'll cut that chocolate bar. Wonder where you would. Well, you don't have to, actually, because these psychos have already decided their fates and their actions, and their continued willingness to do so. There's no judgment required for anyone outside of themselves. By your actions, you are known. You create your own law within you. So those that make the rules must obey the rules. And that's each and every one of us. We make our own rules, our own laws. That's what common law is. That's the with me law. That's why everything outside of you in terms of legal or lawful, I don't care if you man-made common law and all the rest of it, it's from a skewed perspective, where the truth is, the only law there is that which is within your universe, which is you. God is light, you're gods. Some cool radical said that once, and a few of the other cool radicals said the same thing. Time to get a little radical on this. So anyway, let's carry here. I find it fascinating watching your system of delusional reality crumble down around you. You're beginning to see how powerless you truly are. Once those, like me, see through you for the ignorant, bought and paid for slaves that you are. In the same way the Roman legions fell, that was exactly the same system you serve today. Your impotence is exposed as well for all to see. Yes, you love to parade yourselves in true peacock fashion, with your fancy robes, your clown suits, your 9mm penis extensions, your titles, offices, and repugnant elevated levels of self-impotence. Every day your masters in the foul intent you serve show their fear in grand fashion, ramping up the same old diatribes, dragging out the same old empty Trojan whore says, to no avail. You can doubt this all you want, but perhaps a little time reading my writings on my website will clear your bought and paid for minds a little, where in truth it is my intent to wake the sleepiest aspects, or as specks, of humanity up. You that serve your dead crown are the sleepiest of all. Is it ironic that in the execution, lovely word, of your duties, owed crucifixions, not only are you killing your own souls, but the souls of the ones you claim to love, such as your children, families, and friends? What's funny as well is that you go about your daily programmed lives inflicting pain and harm on others, especially those trying to snap you out of your delusions. I would suppose the hardest part for me is knowing that I'm dealing mostly with psychopaths, like you, who think this is a good and normal thing. Just a few questions that might shed some light on your psychopathy. Never an easy thing for those salvageable to accept, but try I will nonetheless. By the way, if you answer yes to any of these questions, you're a certifiable psychopath with serial killer tendencies. Just a little heads up for you, LOL. Do you think that war, where the murder of people, uniformed or not, is a good idea, just because some puppet master, banker type, or media talking head is a good thing? Does fleecing the creations of others to enable you to have a paycheck, in that you produce nothing anyway, welfare capitalist, justify the harms your willful ignorance or willful choice allows? In that you already know that any use of a legal name creates slaves of humanity long ago shown and proven, are your continued choices of your profession to aid and abet slavery for your unseen masters okay with you? Does the fact that your jobs as elevated slaves, showing your disdain for all human life, including your families, bother you enough to stop using psychotic justifiers bathed in human suffering to actually look at the proofs surrounding these facts? Does the illusion of power and control over others using violence and threats of such, draped in titles and flags dripping with blood, suffering, keep you up at night, or are you simply content to justify the psychopathy with phrases like, "I'm just doing my job," the same phrase that got many war criminals hanged? Are you content to spin out lies against others like the rumor mongers outlined in Revelations 18 and other tomes as your standard operating procedure to harm people like me, exposing your corruption and enslavement? Oh, the list of questions could go on endlessly and seamlessly, as I know you're aware, but really, why bother? That's the trouble with psychopathy and egos like yours that are bought and paid for. You can't negotiate with insanity, especially those with an evil, soulless intent to begin with. Just like my interaction with a few of your well-trained dogs a couple of weeks back, I'm sure they were scratching their heads at their stand-down order that saw them run off with minimal effort on my part, because I know what, I know what rules yours and their minds. This is likely the first time they ever chat with someone who uses creation law. You know, the law of creation herself. Best that you catch up with the facts on my website, cateofgaia.wordpress.com. It's also funny the pair of fetchers showed up the next day when I was in the same place I was the night before. This is the difference between force and power, where force is the effect, a place you live in, a place you live in, but not me. LOL. I mean, really, how many times do you have to be handed the same truth, deny it, and then even try to claim that you're not a psycho and a parasite on humanity? Unfortunately for you, the masses are awakening to this very quickly. But then, once you know how to be cause over this reality, those at effect are, well, at effect, like you. How neat is that? Seriously, how long do you think your supposed jobs are going to last, and that we are beyond the critical mass now that is bringing your psychopathy to an end? Now imagine this for a minute. Imagine that the roles are reversed and I am to be the one to judge you. How exciting is that? Would you wish for me to judge you and your actions in the same way that you have corrupted every truth to attack me to the point where you are now powerless? That's the trouble with your spell-casting masters, the scribes, Pharisees, and corruptors of truth, that you must get joinder or consent to a name, dripping in spiritual contract, in the same way that a vampire cannot enter your house until you invite them in, kind of thing. Your whole system is based on the fact of feigned authority, and is solely dependent upon the masses never waking to this. Oh, we're awake, LOL. Yep, you can sit there in your eensy little ivory towers made of glass and deny whatever it is you need to deny, but the facts